We have some new teams to talk about on NA, including who Booga's team's going to be. Bucky now has a new trio, and we have Bolt, Yapko, and Rapid reforming. I want to talk about how the trios are looking, where they're dropping, and a little bit of the drama that led up to these new trios. I also want to recap how the Eval Cups went today, because we had some big performances, but also some big underperformances from teams like Clix and Peterbot. Speaking of Clix, he got to reveal his icon skin. The pros are absolutely loving it, and he had to give it to pros just so he could use it in game without being targeted. There's lots to talk about. Let's get into it. All right, we have some more Snakenings and some new trios on NA. It's felt like a while since I've talked about some new trios on NA after having such an insane amount of Snakenings and new trios every other day. But there's been one player who's normally at the heart of all the Snakenings that's been pretty quiet at the moment. I know a lot of people, myself included, waiting to see who they're going to play with. Booga. And we now have Booga's trio. It is Booga, Threats, and Craze, which is a very interesting trio that I honestly never thought. I was so sure we were going to get Booga, Threats, and Aviv. Like, I would have put money on the fact we were going to get that, especially after Aviv is no longer playing with Bolt and Threats anymore now. So let's talk about Booga, Threats, and Craze. I have no idea where they're dropping. I do have high hopes for this trio. I think this could be really interesting. I think it's going to be great for Craze's development as a player. This obviously means, I'm going to talk about the next trio, what's happening with Bucky and Okus. Bucky, Okus now playing with Carillion. So there's been a lot of discussion around whether Craze was going to drop Bucky, whether he was going to split with Bucky. Bucky's been having a lot of personal stuff going on right now, which has left him not grinding the game right now. Hasn't been playing a whole bunch after making grand finals last season. Craze been playing with a few other trios, been playing a lot with TK and Virgo, apparently just for fun. All three of them didn't have trios. They were just playing together and qualifying and doing really, really well in tournaments. Literally just yesterday, they came 6th in the Eval Cup Open, so doing really, really well, and then they won 3-1 off spawn against NPen. So I was kind of thinking, like, okay, this might actually be the new trio, especially when I heard Craze split with Bucky, but no. Rumor on the street is we are now getting Threats, Booga, and Craze, so I think they'll do really well. I don't know if they're going to contest Demon's Dojo, which is where Craze has currently been going with Virgo and TK, like I just said, or maybe we might have Booga going back and contesting Seaport City. That wouldn't be contesting Kanata, his old trio, it would be contesting Cooper, which would be really, really big. They haven't said where they're dropping. We haven't even got official confirmation of this trio yet. I've just been hearing it from a lot of different sources, so there's clearly rumors going around and DMs being spread, but we might let up tomorrow and that's not the official trio. Now, Bucky, Okus, and Carillion. A lot of people telling Bucky, Carillion's not good enough for you. Who is this Carillion guy? And Bucky's being quick to clap back and say, well, that's what you guys said about Craze. You guys all said that Craze was nobody. Why are you playing with Craze? Not good enough for you. And then they made grands and they were looking crazy. Pun intended. So I'm not really sure what this means, whether we are going to officially get Bucky, Okus, Carillion. Bucky did say it on his stream, so I feel like that is quite official, but there's a lot of moving parts right now, and I don't know, Booga, Threats, and Craze just doesn't sound right to me. I really did think we were going to get Virgo, TK, and Craze. One 100% official trio, at least for right now. We have Rapid and Bolt reuniting with Yapko, and all three of them are playing together again. We had them split like last week. They tried out some new trios, obviously didn't work. They're now back together. They're back to going Flooded Frogs. They were contested today in the Eval Cup finals, so I don't know if maybe while splitting up and trying different trios, they've kind of lost a lot of their presence on the drop map. It is cool to see Bolt's Rapid back together again. They've been together for a long time now. They've both said they're locking back in and grinding the game. Obviously, that wasn't going as well as they expected. Split up, maybe realized how good they had it back together, and they are back grinding. I still have a lot of hope for that trio. I still think that trio can definitely top 5 and make globals, but they're back together again. I'm excited to see how they go. This does leave Aviv, as far as I can see, without a trio. That's why I'm still kind of concerned for Craze. Like, I do think there is a good chance we still end up with Booga, Threats, and Aviv. And I know I could be crazy about this. I'm guessing there's something going on behind the scenes. I'm guessing Aviv and Booga have talked about, hey, we've played together so many times. We always find our way back together. We're obviously not doing as well as we would like together, apparently. Otherwise, why would they split? So maybe this is their first time to be like, look, we're calling it for good. We are not playing together. But I know if Booga, Threats, and Craze start struggling, they don't have a drop spot, something's going wrong, I just don't trust that Craze isn't going to get dropped for Aviv. It just seems to be the comfort pick for Booga. Same with Threats. They've all played together before. They've played together a bunch in the past. They know they work. For whatever reason, they're not sticking together after the placements they have, but they know they can place well together, and that is a very scary spot for Craze to be in. Bucky was quick to point this out on his streams, talking about how, he made a tweet that sounded very good, and I was like, man, Bucky's really maturing. Like, we're seeing a nice mature response to this. Game's game. It is what it is. I haven't been able to grind. I understand it. Then apparently on stream, things got a little bit less positive and wholesome and mature. Bucky saying he's never going to play with him again. You know, I don't play with snakes. Did started to insinuate he snaked on him. So I'm not really sure if there's a lot of bad blood there. It was kind of hard. It was a long stream and it's Bucky. My man likes to talk smack. So I don't know if he was just making some content or whether he is truly upset with Craze. It seems like based on the tweet, they split on decent terms, but Craze could have put himself in a pretty awkward spot now if they don't perform straight away, knowing that Aviv is still out there without a trio. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, we did have a tournament. It feels weird to be making videos talking about Eval Cups. They never used to be that serious, but a lot of people are hyping them up a lot at the moment. I do want to talk about this one specifically because it is known as the Clix Cup. Clix has been dominating Eval Cup finals. They've looked like the most dominant team when it comes to getting wins, and Clix officially got to release his skin today. It was his first time wearing it. He was having a rough time qualifying because, again, it was only his trio wearing the skin in the entire world, so everyone in every lobby knew exactly who it was, and they were getting a little bit targeted, as to be expected. Then Clix took off the skin in the last game, qualified, and his fix for going into the finals so he could still wear his skin and not get targeted was basically to give it to all the other tier 1 pros in the world. So he was giving it to people like Vreet, Vidil got it, and Kanata got it, Peterbot got it, Pete, Cold, and Poyo's whole trio was rocking it. Everyone's saying pretty much the similar thing that I said after the announcement. The Spark skin, the Spark plug version, is insanely clean. I think it's going to be one of the most worn, if not the most worn icon skins ever. Genuinely ever. More than any other icon skin, I think this Spark skin is going to be extremely popular. A lot of pros are now wearing it. I would find it funny if we get kind of a Booga and Nas situation where a pro like a Peterbot picks it up, rocks it so much it ends up becoming their skin, even though it's Clix's icon skin. I don't know. I really do think it might happen because Clix is obviously wearing the variants that look more like him. He's wearing his, like, you know, gamer and his suit setup, where a lot of the pros are gravitating towards the Spark skin. So I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it would be hilarious if it was Peterbot. Pete did have a rare, wholesome, kind moment towards Clix where he was actually gassing up the skin, saying how cool it was when they jumped in and played some Zone Wars. So it was really cool to see, but I'm interested to see if a pro picks it up and it becomes their skin, because I know there's going to be a lot of pros who are going to main this. Once Clix did qualify and in the finals could wear his skin without being targeted by everyone, it didn't really go as it normally has for Clix, Higgs, and Iomzo. They've been the absolute victory royale specialists. They've been getting so many wins, usually 2 in almost every Eval finals. They didn't get a single win this time around. Now, saying that though, they got a second, and a 4th. So they were still playing really well, just couldn't close out the win, even when they got 12 and 10 elims in their second places. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a factor of the minigun, but most of the time they couldn't get the win, there was the team on high ground with the minigun. I think it makes getting the wins from low ground that much harder. They're still getting great elims, still getting great refreshes, but coming into that last final 3v3, they would usually be a lot healthier, but the minigun just puts out such an ungodly amount of pressure. It's really hard to deal with if the team on high ground has it. So I don't know. Again, I'm still not sure what Epic's doing. I guess the minigun is meant to be in competitive, and I guess you're meant to be able to just walk straight into the vault and buy it. They haven't changed any of these features, which so many people, myself included, are so sure aren't meant to be in competitive. Maybe they just don't know how to fix it in competitive to keep the door locked in only competitive. There is a chance we have that situation. They haven't made any statement on it, so at this point it's starting to feel like it's just gonna be in the game. But I think any team who relies on it and banks on it and plans for it to be an FNCS, that's where I think potentially we could see it vaulted mid or right before FNCS. I don't know, but I think that might be a factor into Clix not getting a win here. They still played really well. We had Pete, Cold, and Poyo also not able to get a win, but in typical Pete, Cole, Poyo fashion, I don't know, again, how hard they were trying. I know people get really upset when you say that, but they got a 25 elim 10th in the last game. In a format where elims are worth nothing, I think it's fair to say they're clearly not playing to the format. They're just trying to have some fun. So they had a 7th, 9th, 10th, and 10th with quite a lot of elims. So very clearly, I don't think they were trying to go for the win. They were still putting up an insane performance of fighting ability. They were still practicing their W King, which we know they can all do. But I think it's fair to say when you're getting a 25 elim 10th, you're not really trying for the win. But you be the judge. Now, the 4 wins on NA did go to Rapid, Yapko, and Bolt, so already back together again. The dynamic trio looking good. 9 elim 6th, 4 elim 3rd, 12 elim 3rd, 9 elim wins. So the trio back firing again on all cylinders. If there was any concerns of splitting up, ruined their chemistry, or made things awkward, they're straight back to their usual form, if not better than usual, and they were contested. So they did that while contested at Flooded Frog. So really, really solid performance from them. We had Aegis, Ritual, and Akon winning game 1, a 13 elim win. Then they got a 10 elim 6th, a 5 elim 9th, and a 6 elim 7th. Great performance by them. They were also contested, not by any big name teams anymore. It just seems like a lot of teams when they look at a drop map think, hey, there's, you know, there's not a lot of spots to go right now. Let's try and contest Must. I don't know why everyone thinks that Acorn's team's easy to contest. They literally got Vidil's team to leave, but they were contested. We had a very underrated win from Xenon, Soul, and Josh, and NA West team. They got a 13 elim win. They also got a 6 elim 5th, and then 2 not so great games. And then we had Barker, Pars, and Pump, the NA West FNCS champs, who've been doing so extremely well on Central. I don't know if this team actually came over and played Central, how they'd place. Based on the tournaments I've seen from them, though, if they had a good uncon drop, I could see them getting a top 5. They're going to stick to West because right now it just seems like the freest money in the world from them. They're absolutely dominating on both regions. They also got a 5 elim 4th on top of their 7 elim win. Across the board, other than that, we get to see some of our trios performing in set lobbies we haven't seen too much yet. Kanada's team getting a 3rd, 7th, 5th, and 9th, looking really good. Reet, Bryce X, and Tony, now with an uncontested drop for the first time, managed to get a 2nd and a 4th with good elim, so they're showing a lot of promise as well. Muzz, Rise, and Curly, surprised to not get a win, but they got a 7 elim 2nd. We got Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx out of Seaport City. They did really well in Div 1 finals this week. They managed to get a 5th and 4th as well. We had quite a few EU teams qualify for this. We had Vico, Veno, Flixie, who actually managed to almost win the Opens. They were winning it until the very last game, getting 3 wins in a row. And then unfortunately, their last game, Veno told me he died to a cheater, and they didn't queue up the last game, so they didn't really care at that point. But they did almost win Opens after not even making the finals on EU. EU is a different story. It was, I don't want to be mean, it was probably one of the least stacked EU final lobbies I've seen. We were missing a lot of big teams. We're missing Veno's team, missing Malabuka's team, we're missing Vanya's team, we were missing Thomas HD, we were missing Chap Shark and Kiddo. There was just so many big names missing, but it was still fun to see who came out on top. I had it picked that Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache were going to win at least 2, if not 3 of the games. I ended up being wrong. They only won 1, but with the caliber of the lobby, I thought they were going to run away with it. We did get to see iDrop, Sky, and Scroll be uncontested, kind of. For half the tournament, they managed to get a 16 elim win to their name as well. We had Yanis, Noah, and Rezon, who got a 20 elimination win. Rezon was celebrating in very Rezon fashion. He was so ecstatic after getting the win. I don't speak a lot of German. My chat had to translate. Apparently, he was saying they finally broke the curse. Apparently, have not won a game in an Eval Cup finals in a very long time, so they were quite happy to do it. I will mention, though, they did it from Mars Meadows, which they only got because Veno's team didn't qualify. So Veno's team has left Crime City. They're now going Mars Meadows. Didn't qualify for finals, so Rezon's team went back to Mars Meadows. I don't think they plan on contesting Veno when they are in the lobby, but that leaves Rezon, Yanis, and Noah without a drop spot, knowing how well they can do out of Mast, but I still don't think they're going to contest Veno, but we'll have to see. And then we had Druxy's, Clown, and Waze win it with an 11 elim win with the minigun. They dropped Magic Mosses. They were using the minigun extremely well, which again, I think is going to be a big factor for comp going forward. Now, we did, oh, sorry, that was Wheaton, Frizzy, and Ilusha, who almost won with the minigun. Druxy's, Clown, and Waze aren't dropping Magic Mosses anymore, but they did manage to take down the minigun. I remember that being a big deal. Sorry. Then we had Seti, Hari, and Cammy, who didn't get a win, but came 5th, 2nd, and 2nd. And I would like to point out, Cammy and Seti got a 10 elim 2nd and a 13 elim 2nd. So big elims for a team that's known for, you know, not having firepower. They're also contested yet again. Seti, Hari, and Cammy apparently are the team to contest on EU. I don't know what they have to do to get uncontested brutal boxcars. It's not even a great job, but with the way they played, it looks really strong, and getting 3 out of 4 games, getting a top 5 while contested is really, really solid for the polls.